Hi, friends and family. I'm Aditya here. Hope you all are well. So today it's a small attempt from my side to give you current overview of COVID-19 situation. So I will only give you relevant information. I will not bore you with the basic information that you already are privy of. So let's go ahead and take a look at the current situation. So it's actually a grim situation. As we all are aware, that the number of cases across the globe of COVID-19 are now more than 2 million cases, and maximum cases are in United States, as we know, about I think 700 odd cases. The situation has escalated quite quickly. As you can see on the slide on your left side, late December, China alerted WHO that they are seeing this unusual pneumonia cases and some of the people are dying. And on 11th March, WHO declared uh, this as a pandemic. And we can see on your right side is the top most cases, as I just mentioned, are in United States. And just take a look at the China. We all are aware that how lockdown was there in China, in Wuhan, and look at the way China has plateaued nicely. And this is the graph that every epidemiologist or every doctor would like to see. So what they have done is that they've contained the virus. The containment part of the management of epidemic was appropriately implemented in China. Quite similarly, another tactic, so at the same time, containment, which is the isolation and distancing, plus rapid and aggressive testing. So that was done in South Korea, and that's why you see the graph plateauing in South Korea as well. Coming to India, well, at this moment, we see the number of infections going up, and as what I can understand from the current situation, it will continue to rise. However, these numbers are less because of the lockdown that was implemented, I think, about 3 weeks from now. So that really had an impact on the number of cases in India. I hope India continues uh, to remain in lockdown for at least 3 to 4 weeks now, so that we can stop the virus. At least we can stop the chain of transmission of this virus in India. Singapore, coming to Singapore, it's unfortunate that you can see this spike in last few days. That happened. Initially, it was driven by people who came to Singapore from outside, from Europe and America, that drove this number of cases up. And now what we're seeing is bigger clusters in dormitories and worker locations. So that's just happening in Singapore. Being said that, Singapore has done a tremendous job in containment of virus. So it was a picture perfect implementation of epidemiological measures to contain the virus. However, let's see what happens. Really hopeful that the virus will be contained both in India and also in Singapore. Now, going to few basic viral characteristics. So this is a coronavirus, and this is a single-stranded RNA virus. It affects humans, mammals, birds, and reptiles. And this virus has jumped from the birds or reptiles to human being. I think it's from bats or some, but it's not proven yet. But at this moment, the assumption is bats. The important characteristic of this virus is the spike proteins. And here are those spike proteins you can see in this figure. So this is virus, and these are the protein spikes that we can see. And they they attach themselves through this spike to a protein called as furin inside our body. Furin is found in lungs, and you can see we know the symptoms are primarily of pneumonia and lung related, and liver and intestine as well. It also attaches quite strongly to ACE proteins, and we know that these are important in vascular pressure regulation. And these are anti-ACE or ACE inhibitors are quite widely used in reduction of hypertension. Okay, another important piece is viral transmission. So this virus transmits via respiratory droplets, and it doesn't transmit via aerosol. So what is the difference between respiratory droplets and aerosols? Droplets settle down very quickly. So when somebody coughs or sneezes, those droplets, when they come into air, They settle down within 1 or 2 meters of distance. But aerosols, they remain in air for longer time. So they linger in air for longer time, and thus the transmissibility of those infections is significantly higher. But we don't see aerosol transmission with COVID-19. What we see is droplet infection, which means it settles down relatively quickly. We can see one infected person of COVID-19 can infect about 3 people. It's relatively less. Maximum is with MERS. In this figure, you can see up to 7 people can be infected. How much time does this virus remain on the surfaces outside of our body? So you can see in air, it's about 3 hours. Copper is about 4 hours, about 1 day. So all the paper related material. Stainless steel and polyethylene is slightly longer. It's up to 3 days. Okay. Okay, now let's take a look at the important periods and symptoms related to COVID-19. As you can see on your left side, incubation period is about 2 to 14 days. Well, incubation period is time from the patient gets infected with virus to the time it shows symptoms. On an average, it's 5 days, but the range can be 2 to 14 days. Well, there are some other important periods. I won't go much into depth of that, but quickly tell you that it's about 22 days within the patient are expected to get discharged if the patients are admitted. And there are some other important periods, and quickly go on to the last one. The median time to death was found to be at around 19 days. So from the time patient gets infected to death is about 19 days. Coming to the symptom part, now it's slightly different with COVID-19. The most commonest symptoms are fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, which is quite different than common flu and common cold that we see. In common flu, we know it's malaise, it's body ache, sneezing, a runny nose. So these are common symptoms of common flu or normal flu, but that's not seen with COVID-19. Of course, even COVID-19 patients will have soreness of throat, sneezing, and runny nose perhaps, but it's not that common as it is in flu. Okay. Uh, Death rate. Now, there were many series of discussions related to how deadly this virus is. At the initial days, it came from, hey, this virus is very deadly. Then, hey, no, it's just about flu. And now we know that it's not just flu. It's slightly more dangerous. So you can see uh, in children or in adolescent and young adults, the mortality rate or death rate is relatively lower. It's 0.1% in young adults. In children, at this moment, it is almost zero. In people who are slightly older, starting from age 45 around, the death rate increases quite steeply. So from 0.5% going up to 10% plus if the patients are or more aged. It is further complicated if that patient or a person has pre-existing condition, any heart disease, any diabetes, chronic respiratory disease, such as COPD. People who smoke, they have damages in their lung. In medical term, there are two diseases, emphysema and COPD, that can happen with smoking. So these patients are at a higher risk. People with high blood pressure, people who have cancer, and so on and so forth. So people who have pre-existing condition, irrespective of age, should take due precautions for COVID-19 disease. Now, there are some unusual characteristics of COVID-19. So what are these? Transmission via asymptomatic people. So it is found that even asymptomatic people can transmit the virus. Risk in children, it's found to be less risky in children, which is a very good thing, which means children are likely to develop milder symptoms than the adults. Why it happens still need to be understood. Seasonality, there is no effect of changes in temperature or overall seasonality of weather in viral transmission, which means Perhaps summers in India will not cause any major difference in transmission of this virus as such. But let's see what happens. That's the data that we have at this moment. Prevention and containment. So in epidemiological measures, there are two aspects. One is containment, and another piece is mitigation. Containment is that you contain the virus. You do not allow the virus to spread. How is it to be achieved? By social distancing. You separate people so that the virus cannot transmit, and people should take precautions. And that precautions are washing your hands. When you cough or sneeze, you use tissue papers. If tissue papers are not available, then cough or sneeze in your sleeves. And if you have the tissue papers, then discard those tissue papers immediately and wash your hands. And wear mask when possible. Now, when you go outside, you should wash your hands every half an hour with soap and water. If you don't have soap and water available, use alcohol-based hand rubs. Now, there is a discussion about wearing a mask. So, a normal surgical mask will not confer resistance to COVID-19. It will not stop virus from coming into your mouth and you getting infected. What it can do is, if there is a splash of droplets near to you, it may stop those splash of droplets, and there is a minor level of protection that you can get from wearing mask. But wearing a mask is important. Why? If everybody wears a mask, then and if a person is infected and he has mask on, virus will not go out and transmit other people. So the transmission chain will be broken if everybody wears mask. So if you have access to mask, please wear so, and be socially responsible when you cough and sneeze. You should ideally stay 1 meter apart from other person, if not more. So when you cough or sneeze, the virus, the droplets can travel up to 1 meter or more. So ideal is to stay 3 meters apart at least when you go outside. Other is what to be done when we buy groceries, when we order something online. Well, if you get something from outside, ideally you should keep that grocery or any parcel untouched in a separate place in house for at least 2 days, if not more. So and for the grocery products which you must consume immediately, they are perishable or needs to be kept in fridge, you need to wash them with soap and water and then wash your hands later. Okay. There are certain items that we exchange, for example notes. We take notes from the vendors, and then we put in our pocket. So try to sanitize those notes as well with sanitizers or alcohol rubs or spirit if you have available, spirit pads if you have available. That goes similar to your handphone as well. Avoid using handphone when you are outside, but you must use it when you come home. Try to sanitize handphones as well. It's quite similar to the clothes, to our clothes. Try to sun dry them if you are not able to wash it quite regularly. Ideal is to wash. Ideal is to not to go outside your house unless important. But you go, then you wash your clothes and then wear those clothes. Okay. Now coming to the management or mitigation part. So I talked about containment, and this is management or mitigation. Mitigation is the virus is now there. We were not able to prevent the virus from spreading. This spread now is to treat the virus. There are three modalities with which virus could be treated. First is repurposing drugs. Second is use of plasma or antibodies. Third is vaccine. Okay, our favorite aspect in management of viral disease vaccine. Now, repurposed drugs. These are the drugs which are already available in the market. We are using those drugs indicated for some other treatment or other diseases, using these in COVID-19 anti-Ebola drug. As you can see in your slides here, uh, a drug called remdesivir was developed for Ebola, and that is found to be effective in COVID-19 as well. The second one is anti-HIV drug lopinavir and ritonavir. So these are also promising drugs which are investigational. And malaria, there was a lot of discussion on hydroxychloroquine. These are age-old products, and what hydroxychloroquine does is it stops entry of virus into the cell and thus reducing or stopping the infection. But earlier research have said that it's not as effective as it was thought to be. There were few papers in France by Prof. Dida who sort of talked about beneficial effect of hydroxychloroquine plus azithromycin. But unfortunately, at this moment, we don't see that happening. Some clinical trials are still underway. We'll wait for the outcomes. Antibiotics, sorry, antibodies. So what happens is when patients are infected, patients develop immunity against the virus, and that immunity is antibody. So we take those antibodies outside manufacture and produce at a larger scale so that we can introduce or we can administer those antibody in people who have COVID-19, and those antibodies will fight against the virus. So even the trials for this drugs, the plasma antibodies are underway. And as you can see on the timeline, we expect phase one, phase two results out in August, September. Phase one, phase two are earlier clinical trials. We need two or three, but sometime on phase two as well, we can get the approval from regulatory bodies. The last is vaccine. So China, at an early part of epidemic, shared the genomic structure of virus across the world, and that led to development of the structure of the vaccine. So vaccines nowadays have gone into different phase of development. They are very fast now. So we have the structure available. We need to create appropriate molecules around it so that we can properly elicit the response in a body. If vaccine is not made properly, it can be detrimental to the health. We have seen that happening in respiratory syncytial virus, where there was immunity issues, and then some other vaccines failing. So we want to make a good vaccine that is beneficial. That's why it takes time, and we're hopeful that by the end of next year, we should have vaccine available uh, across the globe. Quickly, again, won't go into details. These are the same sort of management or mitigation part which are available right now. And as you can see here, hydroxychloroquine, plasma, anti-HIV, anti-Ebola, interleukin 6 inhibitors, and ACE inhibitors. I've talked about these different aspects, but let me quickly talk about interleukin 6. Interleukin 6 are essential to reduce the cytokine storm. What it means is that when virus is inside the body, it sometimes elicits unusual immunity response. And when that happens, that immunity affects our body parts. And that's not good because that can lead to death of a patient. So interleukin 6 inhibitors reduces that autoimmunity and thereby saving lives. And cytokine storm is also considered one of the important parameter that can lead to death in COVID-19 patients. Okay. And then we have ACE inhibitors, losartan, which is investigational, and we are expecting the results pretty soon. What I want to highlight is the study completion. Most of the investigational trials will be able to deliver the results in this year itself, more so at around May, June, or July. So it's very fast. We largely haven't seen such speedy trials being done and the results being out. So that's something which is highly commendable because this is a global enemy number one. Everybody is contributing, and we should also do it from our side, from our end, in whichever ways and manner we can. Okay, so that's about it. Thanks a lot, everybody, for your attention. And if there's anything, any further aspect that you want me to speak in details, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to do so. Take care and stay safe.